Hey crafters, it's Alex Manover, and today I'm back in the 651 Vinyl Studio to teach you how to use StarCraft Inkjet Printable transfers for light materials. But before we get started, there's a couple of things that I want you to know about using light material transfers so that you can make your project a success. The first thing you need to know is that you basically have to use a heat press on this project. When you press the light material transfers, it requires very, very heavy pressure that's not really possible to achieve with an easy press or an iron. So please make sure that you use a heat press for this project. And secondly, another really common question that we get about transfers is when to use light material transfers and when to use dark material transfers. And the answer to that is if you're using white or very light pastel colored garments, you want to use light material transfers. If you're using anything darker than that, then you want to use the dark material transfers. Light material transfers don't have any kind of white base behind any of the ink. So if you're using a darker colored shirt, the color of the shirt's going to show through in your press. So I hope that answers that question, and let's get started using light material transfers.
So the first thing that you want to do is insert your image. We are using an image that we carry on 651vinyl.com that is super, super cute. But because it is an SVG file, you'll see it has lots of layers here. You want to use the flatten function to turn it all into one solid image. And then you'll see up at the top, it becomes a print and cut project. Next, you need to size your image to work for print and cut projects because you probably know that you're limited on size and print and cut projects in Cricut Design Space. Then when you click Make It, you want to make sure to mirror your project. This is essential when using StarCraft for light transfers. You should see it flip backwards as soon as you turn the mirror on. And then after you continue, after your machine connects, you can go ahead and send your project to your printer. Then once you have the print dialog up and ready to go, you want to make sure that your bleed is on and all that good stuff, and then you can select Print. After you choose to print, then I'll show you how I load my StarCraft for lights into my printer. So I pull out my bottom tray and remove all of the paper from my printer because I just think that's easier. And then I insert my light transfers in the way that's going to make sure that I print on the top of the page. I also changed some settings before I printed this project to make it a photo quality print to make sure that it's the highest quality print possible.
Then after you print your image, you can use your machine to die cut it out, or you can just cut the image out with scissors. No transfer tape or weeding is needed. This is a really thin material and it would be really, really difficult to weed, so you're much better off just using scissors. If you use a white shirt, you're not going to be able to see any of the white material when you press it onto the shirt. If you use a colored shirt though, like a light pastel colored shirt, you may get a small white box around your image, but that will fade or go away after time and after washing. If you're going to cut it on your die cutting machine, the Cricut setting that you would use is light cardstock. But make sure that you do test cuts prior to cutting out your whole image so that you don't waste a whole sheet using the wrong cut setting. So after you cut out your image, the next step is to adjust your heat press. So this is the part where we say that you must use a heat press for this project because you need to make sure that you set your heat press on very, very heavy pressure. And then you want to make sure to adjust your heat press to the proper settings. And the proper settings for StarCraft for light materials is 375 degrees for 30 seconds. Then once you think that you have your pressure set as heavy as you're going to set it, you need to make sure that you test and make sure that you can shut and open your press before you put your file on your shirt. So I'm going to be using a pressing pillow on my shirt. That helps because it helps increase the pressure when I press the shirt, and it keeps the surface of where I'm going to press elevated above the seams to make sure that I get really good contact with my material onto my shirt. So first I'm going to make sure that I can close and then open my heat press. Okay, so I can close it, but just barely. And then it's going to take a lot of effort to open, so make sure that you either can open your press or you have somebody nearby to help you in case you can't open your press. Okay, so that worked well, and the next step is to add in our file. So because your image is mirrored, you're going to lay it on the shirt with the StarCraft for Light Materials logo facing up. And you're not going to be using any transfer tape or anything, so make sure that you put it so that it's centered on your shirt and take your time getting it where you want it. The edges are going to curl a little bit, so just lower your press nice and slow and make sure that gets a flat press. Then after you close your press, of course, we're gonna wait 30 seconds. This is a hot, hot peel. So as soon as you can touch your material without burning your fingers, you wanna make sure to peel your decal. Gosh, that's hot. And there you have it. Okay, crafters, I hope that answers all of your questions about using StarCraft Inkjet Printable transfers for light materials. But as always, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments for me because you know that I'd be happy to answer them for you. I'm Alex Vanover with 651 Vinyl, and I'll see you guys in the next one.